the Giacomo Turra scandal. Giacomo Turra.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to this little session with me here. This very off-the-cuff, very unusual video for me. And by the way, before I start talking about what I was going to talk about, I'll just explain that the forest is full of mosquitoes. So if you see a lot of this going on, it's because of that. So sorry in advance if that's annoying to you, but that's the reality for me. Anyway, so there's been a big scandal in the news recently. It's been all over my YouTube, and if you're watching this, I'm guessing it's been all over YouTube, your YouTube as well. And that is, there's this big, apparently huge Instagram guitar player, or YouTube, I think it's mostly Instagram, who is a big deal. You know, the whole sponsorships. Sorry, dog walker came by, and I didn't want to freak them out by talking to myself here in the middle of, not the middle of nowhere, because I'm fairly close to the edge of town, but I didn't go deep because it's late and I came off work and I didn't have a whole lot of time to do this. So I'm pretty near civilization, and the occasional dog walker nature person will pass by. So apparently this Giacomo person is a big fraud. He just took other people's music and posted it as his own. And he also sold guitar tabs, I think. I haven't looked this up. This is what I've gathered. So if anything I say is untrue, I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't do my research very well, because the thing itself, this scandal itself, this person is not that interesting to me. I don't really care about that. But anyway, just to finish the point, he sold guitar tabs that were not even his own original music, which is pretty. I'm not going to get into that more in this video, because if you're interested in what happened, and you probably know him better than I do anyway, so you can look it up. It's all over YouTube if you have no idea what I'm talking about. But you probably do, and you probably know who this person is, or knew before, or know a whole lot more about it than I do. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But the point for me, and what's interesting about this to me, is the whole phenomenon itself of Instagram guitar players and YouTube guitar channels and online guitar and online music. Because it seems to me that it's the closest we get to guitar Olympics, or music as a sport rather than as an art form. That's my impression of it. Like an Instagram guitar player, and I don't mean any offense to people who are into that. If you post on Instagram and you upload guitar videos and you do covers and you do your own little shorts of cool stuff that you write, all the power to you, all power to you. Whatever the saying is, awesome for you. Do what you like, do what you love, follow that. Who cares what I say, right? It doesn't matter. If that's your thing, that's your thing. It doesn't need to be my thing. That's totally cool, and I acknowledge that 100%. But to me, that whole world of showing off, of playing stuff that is just outlandish or requires insane skill, but it's still this like musical snippet with no context, no belonging, no real home. Just its sole purpose is to show others how good you can be at your instrument. That's been my impression of it, and for me that does nothing. There's no connectivity there. There's no emotion for me. It's just, okay, you're really good at guitar. I could never do that, but I also don't care about it. So what's the point? Anyway, I was thinking about this. Like, I love football, soccer, and of course I love great skill, but in that sport, a demonstration of amazing skill with no end product, with no function in the team, with no real purpose to the bigger picture, is mostly just kind of vain, borderline wasteful, and counterproductive at times even. And more importantly, rather selfish. And I think it's understood in that context as immature, maybe. And once again, I don't mean to sound like a high horse, pedantic sort of know-it-all, or a pretentious, insufferable, small-minded, smug person who is just an elitist. So if you like all this stuff, please don't be offended by what I'm saying, because I'm not telling you that you should think like me, or that your opinion or your feelings are not valid, because obviously they are. So to me, watching this as an observer with no real understanding or interest in this world, I feel nothing. It's so boring to me. Like, so I had this friend who, he was really, really, really into learning very difficult sections or solos or parts of songs for the sake of showing others that he had learned them. So it was very important for him to demonstrate his skill to others as a way to seek validation, and as a way to seek respect, and as a way to sort of carve out a little path of social credibility in certain circles, because he felt like he was lacking that. The point is that the music and the creation of something was not really, it got lost. And this is a person who writes beautiful music, and when he creates for the sake of creating music and performing it as art, he's fantastic. But this was not that. This was another thing. It was a different motivation fueled by something totally different. And it very much resembled the energy that I feel like this world is all about, where it's almost like skateboarding, where it's all about pushing it and showing that you can be the one to do what no one else can. And in football, it's the same with the street mentality of the tricks to embarrass your opponent and come up with new things that no one has ever seen before, and taking that to a stage where you play at the world stage, but what you really do is try to impress your friends and your neighborhood. It's like that kind of mentality that is fueled by ego, which is it can be a great driving force, and it probably has been the greatest driving force for a lot of very, very, very famous musicians and amazing bands. And so I'm not here as a Puritan saying that music has to come from a deeper space, and it has to, in order to be authentic and valid, it has to be fueled by the sort of muse of creation and this sort of sacred energy of, no. I guess my point here is that theft is not new. Playing music to impress other people, that's not new. Trying to gain a certain validation that is just purely ego-based and fueled from a place of, I'm going to show that I'm better than you kind of an energy, that's not new. None of this is new. It's not unique, and it's not the first or last person to do this, obviously, but there's a part of me that thinks that this is what we get, because this is where we've ended up. We've ended up with snippets, TikToks, and we've lost the experience of a song, of a record, this is a cliche at this point. You've heard people talk about it. It's a very common complaint, but our attention is to currency, right? And if we're all putting it towards that kind of stuff, the incentive to be the best at that kind of stuff obviously is there. It's there for the taking. And what about people who make real music? What about art? What about human emotion? What about communication and trying to convey an emotion and a feeling, or sharing in a feeling, or expressing a feeling, and telling a story and providing a sort of framework for an experience that is a little bit more and a little bit bigger than like a 1-minute doom scroll session at half an hour after your bedtime, People love to complain about the state of music today, but if this is what people watch, if this is where the eyeballs go, if they go on people like Giacomo, well, then yeah, that's the state of music we get, and maybe that's the state of music we deserve, because if we're not voting for that, we get Giacomos. We don't need to watch Instagram guitar players, do we? Do we? Can't we just pour ourselves a cup of coffee, put on an album, and just put down our phones and just sit with that for 40 minutes? Have we really lost that? Or is that a false? Are they not mutually exclusive, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old man trapped in a slightly younger man's body, yelling at clouds and complaining about how things used to be. I certainly feel like I am often in life, and certainly in music too, but I have no real point other than to wail and complain a little bit. But maybe you feel like I do. Maybe we can share in that. Maybe we can be smug together and point at Giacomo's and the people who care about that stuff and say, "Ha, that's what you people get." But then what does that accomplish? I don't know. Probably nothing. So yeah, that concludes this venting session, and thank you for being a part of it. I appreciate your attention, and I hope this, gave you something, or if you think something totally different, or if I'm not getting the point, please leave a comment about it, because as always, I'd love a discussion. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to hear all kinds of perspectives on this, because we can all agree that it was a move, but there's a bigger discussion there. There's something interesting to be said about the whole world of online guitar players, of fake playing or faking a skill to gain. Because if you monetize a skill that you don't even have, not cool. But let's talk about it. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the whole thing. Tell me what I missed. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you feel a different way about it? Do you make guitar videos on Instagram? And if you do, let me know. I'll check them out. All right, that's it. Have a great day wherever you're in the world. Take care. Bye-bye.